The N Squared Innovation District is a collaboration between the town of Needham, the city of Newton, and the Newton-Needham Regional Chamber. 2 years ago, the Chamber started the first phase of the initiative, which led to the creation and branding of the district, making sure the infrastructure was in place and focusing on business attraction and retention. The Chamber recently began fundraising for the second phase of the project. Here's more on the plans for the district.
Your second phase is in some ways a growth off the first. We have the organization in place. Now it really is looking at how do we continue that business attraction and retention to go on a little bit more of a global scale, really market the area outside of Newton and Needham and even outside of Boston, and looking really nationally and bringing those companies in. We're also continuing that advocacy level, making sure that the interests of the businesses in the area are taken to heart by the municipalities, whether that's state, local, or even federal. And then there's also the placemaking aspect. We do feel that we really need to focus quite a bit in this round on placemaking, making sure that people have a sense of that this is not just a place where they come to work, but a place to be, a place to walk around, and they do understand the brand essence of what happens when they enter this area. And ultimately, we want to tell the stories. We have a newsletter now, we have other elements that are starting about the communications program, but we really need a way to tell those stories of success that are here to not just the people who are here, so they know each other's stories, but to the Boston media, outside of the Boston media, outside of the state, which also goes into that business attraction and retention efforts as well. One end goal is, of course, to make sure that people who come to work here like being here and they want to stay here, making that a very interesting and attractive place to be, that they have the amenities that they need, that they have the quality of life that they want, so that they're not thinking, oh, I drove in and I'm just sitting in an office park, but they have a life here. That's goal number one. Goal number two is making sure that we can develop these properties accordingly. I mean, you look around in Needham Crossing here, there are still 3 empty pads of land that we know are ripe for development. They're ready to go, they're shovel ready. We want to make sure that companies come in here that are committed to being in Newton and Needham, that are really part of that N Squared Innovation District and are part of the community. And at Wells Avenue, we have changeover happening there. That's an opportunity to really grow and to really change the dynamics of what is happening. This is also about driving, ultimately, driving revenue for the town of Needham and for the city of Newton in terms of commercial tax revenue, making sure that we have that long-term driver that does feed other things within those 2 municipalities. The first time we fundraised, we received $345,000 from various investors. That got us through 2 years. We're looking to do that again this time. We're looking for the same amount as before. And really this is about moving us to that next phase, not just phase 2, but even beyond that, looking at how do we create a sustainable business model beyond this second round of fundraising. Ultimately, the money will come from communities like the town of Needham, like the city of Newton, which are certainly the key parts of this, but also the developers who are local, the businesses that are here. TripAdvisor has been a great partner. Normandy has been a great partner. Those kinds of organizations and those kinds of companies really investing in their community, investing in driving the quality of life that they necessarily want and they necessarily need, not just for themselves, but also for their employees. Over the last 2 years, the changes that have happened here are pretty substantial, and it's hard to see it when you live in it. But when you really think back to what was here and what wasn't just 2 years ago, it's pretty striking. You think about Shark Ninja was over, kind of scattered around Wells Avenue, and now they have this kind of core part where they are today. You look at Needham Street and Newton Nexus and coming online there, and then a number of businesses coming in around it. Companies like Boston Ballet and Examiner now on that street and adding vibrancy and life. And then you look forward 2 years and you start to think about what is coming with the changes on Needham Street, with the rebuild by the state, and what that's going to begin to look like. And you start adding in things like Lime bikes and other elements that are starting to allow that transportation mix to happen a little bit more. Those are all massive, fundamental changes in the way that we've always perceived what this area is that have happened really just over 2 years, and 2 years out, it's even going to be more striking.